So in this episode, we are going to be creating our user document, and we are also going to sync our users from our clerk dashboard to our user document in Sanity. But the first thing I want to do is to add type safety to our environmental variables. So if I go to our environmental variables, keep in mind this should be private. The reason why you're saying this is because of this series, and by the end of this series, I'll get rid of everything you're seeing right here. So with that being said, if I go to, let me just go to my astro.config file and let me try to import. So the way to import an environmental variable in Astro, because it uses vit under the hood, is to use the import.meta.env. Then if I hit Control and spacebar, I get a drop down of the available environmental variables that we have. So these ones are pre-built. But as you can see, let me do that again. You won't see this publishable key and class secret key, so we can't see them right here. I want to make sure that we have type safety. And this right here, I just want to show you, but it's optional. You can just choose to hand type it yourself. It's fine, but most times, personally, I do forget a letter most times, which will lead to errors that will take most of my time. So what I will do is to go back to our project and go to environmental variables. Basically, if you are in the Astro doc, just go to configuration and you see environmental variables. Then scroll down, you see type safe environmental variables. Come back to this shortly, but the way it was done initially, which you can still do, is that you have to like set it up yourself. So you manually type it, then you have to still type it on another I think it's the where is it, this env file as well. So you type it in this place. But with the new updates they made, we just need to add a schema or an env feed to our astro.config file. So I will just copy this right here, and I will go to our astro.config, and let's do it before the integrations. And I'll add a comma here to get rid of that error. So this is where we can add different schemas, and basically the schemas are the environmental variables. So I'll go back, and as you can see, give us some example here. I'll just copy this one and I'll paste it here, and let me just import this like so. Then you can see this one is for the API URL, is a string, and the context is client, which means this one will be exposed to the client, and if it's client, it's also public as well. What I'll quickly do is I'll just copy this one like so, and I'll paste it here, and I'll get rid of these two, and let me copy these ones and copy this one and replace it like so and save. So basically we want these two environmental variables to be accessible on the client side, and this optional property right here, you can kind of get rid of it if you want to, but if you get rid of it, you need to make sure that you have a value that is set for this variable that you have, because if there's no value, it's going to prompt you, it's going to stop your server first, then it will prompt you to add a value before you can start your server, which is actually a good feature. All right, now that we have that in mind, I think we are good to go. The next thing we just need to do is to most times is to stop our server and start it back, or run this Astro sync to just generate the types. So what I will do, I won't generate the types now because we need to add more fields, and let me just add everything. All right, so I've added all the environmental variables that we need on our schema field or schema object right here. I've not added them right here. I'll do that shortly. But as you can see, let me just quickly run through it. We have the clerk secret key, the sanity token. I'll explain what that is, but that should be secret. The sanity data set, that should be public. Project ID as well. The sign-in secret, this one will be from clerk and it's going to be secret. The stripe secret key is from stripe. Stripe webhook secret also from stripe, and they are secret as well. Then our public domain URL, which is our local host, will be public. So now that we have that in mind, what we need to do is to now create our user document. And to do that, we just need to go to our schema types and create a new file called user.ts. And here I'll just say export default. So, and inside I will create the user by saying user name rather, then I'll pass in our user. So this will be what we use to query our user document. Then the title will be user. So this is what we'll see once we export it to our index file. Then the type is a document, or will be a document. Then as for the fields, this will be an array of objects, and the first one will have a name, which will be user ID. There should be a comma here. I keep forgetting to add that. We also need a title, and we need the user ID as well. We also need a type, and that type will be string, and we need to make it read only. So set that to true. So let me save this. So basically, we'll need a couple of fields that will be pulling from our clerk management dashboard. So we'll just need about 4 of the fields, but you can add more depending on your use case. So I'll duplicate it like 5 times or 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one will be for the name, and this will be name. The type will remain string. Add for email as well. This will be email. Also add for image, so the user image, and the title will be, let's just say image URL. Then the type now will be URL. I don't want to bore you guys with all the different type we have in Sanity, but there's a URL type, there's a number type, I think there's a date time type as well, and other types. So the last one we'll add be the created at. So we'll say created at, I'll say created at, and the type will be date time, and this should be read only as well. So we can save this. But before we export it, we just need to add a preview to this as well. So basically this will be an object, and we'll add select object like so. I'll pass in some of the key value pairs. So we just want to pass in the title, which will be the name, and let's just do title and image. So this will be image like so. Basically this preview is what we'll see when a user is being added. So you get like an image and the user's name by the side, but this is optional as well. If you don't do this, it's just going to use the default name, but it's not going to add the picture. So stay inside this preview object, outside the select object, bring in a prepare function like so, that with the structure, and I will just open it like so, and inside there we'll pass in 2 parameters. So the first one will be the title, and the next one will be the image. So they just be for, and there will be type of any for now. Then inside here we just want to return the title and the image. So the title will be title like so, and for the image we'll use the media like so, because image won't work, so you need to use media. Then we'll pass in the image, but we can't just pass in the image like this because it's not going to work. You can't render the URL directly. So, and we also can't render a React component here. So what we need to do is to create a separate component and just export that component and pass in this image as a value. So I'll go to our components folder and create a new component. I'll call this external preview, or let me just call it external URL preview. I think this will make more sense. So tsx exo crfce, and get rid of this one. Let me just get rid of this and just export it directly like so. Then remember, this we accept a value of type any as well. Then for this will be img, which should be self-closing. So say img. You know what, let me just self-close it here and then get rid of this one like so. Then inside this, we'll pass in the value as the source. So basically the value will be the image that we're passing. Then the auth, I just say profile image, because this will be the profile image. So with this now in mind, we can come here and just check. So we want to only render this external URL preview if there's a valid image. So we just say if there's an image, then render external URL preview like so. Then we'll just pass in the image as the value, else render nothing. Alright, so we just need to come to our index.ts file, and we just pass in our user that we created like so. I will save. So if we go back to our code now and come here, so we'll give this a minute to refresh, and I guess we've stopped our server. Okay, so this is what I was talking about earlier on. I forgot to make this optional. So what I'll quickly do is I'll go to our astro.config file and I'll copy, I'll just set this to optional, should be true, and I'll just do it to everything. Alright, so if we check now, I think we shouldn't get any issue this time. So let me refresh now. And you know what, let me just stop the server and start it again, because we also want to sync the types as well. So say npm run dev. Okay, so let's just run this again. Alright, so our website has loaded and our studio has loaded as well, so we can see the user. But when we click on this, we get this error. So an error occurred during dynamic import. So let's check what is happening. So okay, the file does not exist, trying to add. So I think we need to exclude these optimized depths. So what I would do is to go to our vit object right here, and I will say optimize depths like so, and I'll say exclude. I think it's exclude. Then for the value, I'll pass in pain like so. So just in case you run into this issue, you might not run into it, but just in case, just pass in this, and let's see if that works now. Alright, so that error is gone, and if we check now, we shouldn't see it anymore. Okay, cool. And again, let me just go to my package.json, and please, if you can purchase the project, purchase it. Is going to still save you some time, because I might forget to come to this dependency file. So you can pause the video and check if the version you are using or the version you are seeing right here matches what you have on your own end. And if it doesn't match, just look at what I have and try to install the exact version in order for you not to run into any issues. Alright, so I'll close this out. So the next thing we want to do is to store our project ID, our data set, and our sanity token on our environmental variable. So we go to still here, I think, yeah. So I'll just copy this one like so and paste it here. So sanity token. Next one should be the data set. Then this one should be project ID. Let's also copy the sign-in secret. This one will be for Stripe. We'll set that up shortly, but we can leave all these ones for now. So for the token, we don't have that yet. For the data set, we can get that from our integration. So data set is production. Then project ID, will copy it and I'll paste it here. So we'll set this one to production and save. So to get the this will start back in the bit. To get the sanity token, what we need to do. All right, so I was having issues reloading the sanity page, so I did a little research and I added these two dependencies. So far so good, it's working very well. I just hope that issue doesn't come up again. All right, so to get our sanity token, what we need to do is to go to manage projects like so. All right, then we'll click on the API like so and we'll go to tokens. And the reason why adding this token is just to allow us write to our document. So we'll click on add API token and we select the default is the viewer, which will only allow us to read all the documents that we have, which means just querying all the documents. So I'll select this developer one and we also need to give it a name. So let me call this stay light token like so. But before I save it, keep in mind that the trial I have here is 21 days. So by the time the trial is done, this normally reverts back to, I think, read only. So you have to select this editor one. So just keep it in mind, should in case you run into any issues. So I will save this now. And I will copy this token. And again, this should be private. So I will paste it like so. All right, so we have that set up. We don't need this anymore. Let me close it and let me close this out as well. The development server has stopped. We may need to restart. So the next thing is to get our sign-in secret from clerk. So quickly go to clerk and go to dashboard. Then I'll click on configure. So if you scroll down, you see webhooks. So click on webhooks. All right, so there's a little guide on how to use webhooks with clerk. So I'll just open this guide just to show you how it works. But basically we just need an endpoint. So I'll click on endpoint, and this endpoint has to be exposed to the internet. So you can see this HTTPS, not HTTP. And what we have currently is our local server, which is HTTP. So the way it's being done, or the way they advise us to use it, if I scroll down, I think, where is it? So sync clerk data to your webhooks. Okay. So they advise us to use ngrok, which will allow us to expose our local server to the internet. But I won't be using ngrok because I feel it's like an overkill and the setup now is really stressful. So what we use is to go back to our VS Code. I'll open my terminal and I will click on this ports tab and click on forward the ports. And by the way, I have a video on this. It should be popping, so you can quickly watch the video on how this replaces ngrok for 90% or 99% of the use case. So we just paste in our ports. So we say 3000. So it's starting to forward the ports like so. So we'll give it a minute. As you can see, it has given us a URL that we can use on the internet live, and you can share this link with someone. But the only thing you just have to do is to change this visibility to public. So I'll right click on this and go to port visibility and change this to public. Then yeah, it's going to prompt you that you want to create a public forwarding port. So we just say continue. Now we can just copy this like so, and I can come right here and paste it here, and I can just say /API/webhooks like so. Then you can add a description if you choose to, so I'll leave it blank. Then for the event, what we just need to do is to add the user events. So we just need user created and user updated. Then I think that's about it. So we just click on create, and now our endpoint has been created. But by the time we deploy our website to Netlify, we'll replace our URL with this one right here. But keep in mind, make sure you don't stop these ports, because as soon as you stop forwarding these ports, this won't work anymore. So we just need to expose. Let me just open this and copy this one, which is the signing secret, and paste it like so here. So I'll quickly save and go back. And before we test it, because you can test the endpoint, we just need to create these folders or this endpoint that we have right here. So I'll go to our code, and on our pages folder, I'll create an API/webhooks.ts like so. Then for the code, I will go back to the docs right here, and I'll scroll down. Then basically this is just the step-by-step guide which we've done. And initially they had for Next.js and other frameworks, but they just recently added Astro, which is really cool. And you can see the endpoints like so. Yes, very similar with what we have. So I'll just copy this like so and paste it here, and I would just change this to signing secrets. And for this one, what we just need to do is to import, because we no longer need this meta.env. So I'll just import our, what's it called, Sanity, or rather our signing secret. So let me say signing secret like so. So you can see he imported it like this, so we can get rid of this one. I will also need to import the Sanity token as well, because we'll be needing that. And also we need to import the Sanity project ID and the Sanity dataset. All right, so like I said earlier on, we want to write to our Sanity document. So what we'll do next is to create a function. I'll call this this will be an async function, and I'll call this mutate sanity, and this should take in a mutations as the parameter, and I'll just pass in any. Okay, but you can add the variable types to this. So what I'll do is to check if some fields are, or some environmental variables are there. So we just say if there is no sanity token, it should be a double pipe symbol. If there's no data set, like so, and if we don't have the project ID, then we just want to throw a new error. So, and let's just say missing sanity configs, or config rather. But if it's available, we just want to make a post request to an endpoint, and for now we don't know what that endpoint is going to be. So I'll go to our browser and I'll open a new tab, and I have it right here. So the mutations API. All right, cool. So Sanity updated their documentation, which really makes more sense now. And you can see we have different mutation types. So the one we'll need is the one for create, but basically you can just copy anyone and replace it with what we have. So let me scratch this down. Okay, so think I can just copy this one like this. So I'll copy it and I'll say const response. I'll say await, then fetch, and this should be the URL. So use backticks like so, and I'll paste in the URL that we just copied. And for the project ID, I will just pass in our project ID, Sanity project ID rather. Then after this, I will just add the data and the mutate. I think this is there. Maybe I didn't get to it. I think it's this one, yeah. So data mutate, and we just add the data set. So we'll say it should be a Sanity data set. All right. Then add a comma here, and for the method, this will be post. Then the headers will be content type application JSON, like so. Then for the authorization, so we say authorization, can't type today. So this will be, again, this should be backticks because we just want to pass in the Sanity token. So we say bearer and $ Sanity token, like so. Cool. So make sure there's no space. You don't do it like this. Make sure you add a space rather. Then the last thing we want to do is to stringify. So we say JSON. Keep typing this wrong. So JSON dot stringify, and we want to just stringify the mutations that we have right here. All right, cool. And for the response, we just want to check if it's not okay. So if the response is not okay, maybe if there's an issue, you can just throw a new error. So we say throw a new error. I will say, let's just say Sanity API error. But I feel this is not enough. So what I will just do is that we'll just await the response and grab the error from there. So what I'll just do is to create a new variable called error. So we say await response JSON and just pass in that error here. So this will be backticks now, like so. And let me say JSON stringify error, like so. Then we just want to return the response.json. So what we need to do now is to come under this guy right here and want to do something with the payload. So let me just leave this. I'll write this again. So let's just add a switch statement, and this will take in the event type, and let's add different cases. So we want to check if the user is created, and I keep doing this wrong every time. So this should be like so, yeah. I also want to check if the user is updated. Remember, these are the two events we added. So in either case, we want to destructure some properties from the events.data, and those properties are what we added on our fields right here. So first one will be the ID, then we need the first name, we need the last name, we need the email address, and we need the image URL. Then also we'll create a mutations variable, and we'll pass in the mutations like so. So we say mutations, and right here, so you can choose to use create or replace. So this creates a new document or replace an existing one. Should we use this? Because this one just creates a document. Let's just use this one. but you can use this one, it doesn't really matter. So I'll just use this one. So what we want to do now is to pass in all these elements that we have right here. And the first thing to do is we want to make sure that we are targeting the exact document. So that would be the first thing. So the type of document will be the user. Then the ID will be ID. The user ID will be ID as well. The name will be a combination of the first name and last name. So we use backticks like so. So say first name, I give a little bit of space and say last name. Then for the email, we just grab the email addresses, grab onto the first one and grab that email address. Then we have the image URL. So say image URL. And lastly, remember we had the created at. So say created at, we just set to the new date, which is the present date, and let's just convert it to iOS string. All right, so now we want to store these mutations in a result variable and call the mutate sanity function that we created right here and basically pass in these mutations to it. So outside this, I'll create a variable called result, and we basically await. So we say await mutate sanity and pass in the mutations like so. And let's just return a new response. Let me copy this one, paste it here. And instead of saying webhook receive, you can just say JSON dot stringify. I'll pass in the results we have. Then status will be 200 like so. Then let me get rid of all these, we no longer need them. And I'm noticing I have an error right here. So I think we're doing something wrong. Okay, this should be square brackets like so. So replace this one with square brackets like so. Then inside this is where we'll have this like so. So scooch this guy right here. Then I'll swap these two like so and get rid of this. So we're still getting the same error. So let me try and add something else here. So let me see here, that should be content type. I think the same thing we did. Where is it? So copy this one. So this is optional now though, but this should not be the reason why it's not working. Guess. And this should be headers, and this should be inside here like so. Okay, save. Okay, the error is still there. So what we do is after this, I'll just add a default, because remember we just need to break out of this switch statement. So we'll just say for the default case, let's just return a new response as well. So let me just copy this one to see if that will go away this time. All right, so that fixes it now. So for the default response, let's just return the type of webhook. So just a webhook event type. And let's just get rid of this one and pass in the event type. So which means we'll change this one to backticks like so. So we say event just type like so. So we can get rid of this one now. So I think this is it. So let's check our Sanity document and allow this to load up. And while this is reloading, we can come to our clerk and test it out. So click on test, or testing rather. Then we select an event. So we see user created. All right, so you can see different data right here. So this one is just for testing. So we can send example now. All right, so nothing is showing here, and if you are receiving the same issue, what you just need to do is to refresh this. So you can see that it succeeded, which means our event type was corrected. And if it worked here, there's every chance that we have the data on our CMS. So let me refresh this again. All right, so if I click on the user documents now, you can see the example file that we saw right here, but the image looks kind of broken, and I think it's coming from here. But once this loads, okay, so the image is not actually a valid image, so that's why. So let's test it with our own custom email. So let me quickly log in. All right, we are logged in here. So if we check back now, you can see that we have the same name showing right here, and I think there's a little glitch on our part. So I'll go back to our code and scroll down and make sure this should just have only $1 sign, not double. So I'll quickly try another email and to test it out. So I'll log out this one and log in a new email. All right, so we are logged in here. So let's check now. All right, so everything is working fine and dandy. All right, that's it for this episode. In the next episode, we're going to create the room document, and we're going to replace it with all the rooms that we have for each of the pages.